Let's go ahead and create a simple BIOS for QEMU. A couple of words about QEMU. It's a piece of software that helps us emulate a physical computer. It supports a bunch of architectures, but in this video, of course, we're gonna focus specifically on x86. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this as simple as possible. So we're gonna utilize a special piece of hardware that QEMU emulates, which is called debug console. And this will enable us to just write a couple of characters to a specific port, and it'll be displayed on the screen. And before I'm gonna go ahead and start writing the BIOS image itself, we're gonna play a little around with the debug port by hand. So for this, I'm gonna start the QEMU with a couple of parameters. Now in this video, I'm gonna also use Windows, but you can just follow along with Linux as well. It should work everything identical. And of course, I'll put information about all the installations in the description. First parameter is gonna be device. And here I'm gonna connect the debug console. So let's search it over here in the docs as well. Now we need to specify which device we want to connect, but we can use the help over here to see the list of available devices. Now I'm going to search for devices that have debug in their name. Okay, and this is the one we want to use, ISA debug console. Now I do want to get help about this, so as they specify over here in the docs, we can get help about the specific driver to find some information about the parameters that we need to pass in. Now we can see that these have default values, but this one doesn't. So we need to specify the character device we want to use, specifically the ID. And I'm going to create a new character device. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure this character device to go to stdio. So we'll just see the output of the debug port here in the console. So let's just call this my console. And now I need to specify and configure the character device. We need to choose the backend. In my case, I just want to use stdio. Just keep it simple. And now I need to specify the ID, and we called it my console. Okay, now I can start QEMU. Okay, so no operating system, so as expected we have here just the BIOS doing some stuff. But I want to switch to the monitor. So I'm gonna press Ctrl-Alt-2. And now we switch to the QEMU monitor, and this enables us to type in a bunch of debugging commands to QEMU directly. And this will enable us to easily play around with the debug console and see how it works. But we need the port number, so we know where to send this. And for this, we're going to take a look at a project that is called Coreboot. Now, Coreboot is a very interesting project which gathers a lot of different types of firmware for a lot of different types of architectures into a single source code. And of course, it also supports x86 motherboards and QEMU as well. So we're going to use this source code to locate what is the port number of the QEMU debug console. Now, as you can see over here, I have the Coreboot source code cloned. So we're going to just go to the specific file that is responsible for the debug console. And that's going to be in source, drivers, emulated, and then QEMU. And finally over here, you see the QEMU debug console. Now you can see here in the initialization, it's trying to see if it has the port, and here is the port number, E9. So let's just remember that. This is the port number of the debug console. And now let's go back over here. By the way, you can make the screen larger by using Ctrl-Alt and then plus. Now we can use the built-in help system over here. And also I'm going to show you here in the docs. There is a specific documentation section about the QEMU monitor. And you can see here they describe it as an ability to give complex commands to the QEMU emulator. And this has a lot of functionality. But one cool thing is we're going to use this to write some stuff into specific ports. And for this we have the O command. And this is the format, and this helps us write to an IO port. In a couple of minutes we're going to do that with assembly. But for now, let's just go ahead and use this command in the QEMU monitor. So I can type in as well help and then O over here, and we'll see here the syntax. Now format can be, for example, hex. So just specify X over here. Now the address is going to be, as we have seen over here, E9. Finally, the value. I'm just going to use here 40. That's going to be a certain ASCII character. And as you can see, the character appeared over here. And we can try that again. Let's say 41. And that's going to be A. So you can get a feel of how this works. You just write in a character to the port and it appears here on the console. Now let's go ahead and use this functionality to print hello on the screen with the specific BIOS image we're going to make right now. Now to make this BIOS image, I'm going to use a tool that is called Rizin. And this is a very handy hex editor that also has advanced reverse engineering capabilities. And we can also use it to craft our own images. Now to start it, I'm just going to type in Rizin. Now it also has a great help system. So we can just type in question mark, see the available commands. Or specifically, if we want to see help about a specific command, just type in the command and then question mark. And we're going to use this command to open a new file, and specifically in write mode. So we're going to use this O+, and then the name of the file. So we're going to put it here in the fun directory and call it bios.img. Okay, now we have this file open. We're going to use the resize command. Just write R and then specify the size. So we're going to resize to 4 megabytes. Okay, I'm going to clear the screen with Control L. And now I'm going to open the file in visual mode. So we type in capital V. And you can see here that I can navigate with the arrow keys. It's all zeros right now. Now just a quick remark about why I resized it to 4 megabytes. This is just one of the standard sizes that QEMU expects for the ROM of the BIOS. And specifically, I want to write the assembly in the end of the file, because that's where the entry point is going to start. So for this, I'm going to use the capital G command over here in the visual editor. And I'm going to now scroll down with the arrow key. And you can see the file ends over here. So this is the last line of the file, right over here. And then we got the FFs. So this is out of the file. So we want to just scroll down until we have the last line, like this. And now I'm going to start writing the assembly from this line. So from here on, I can just quit with the Q command. Now you can see my seek is in the end of the file, the last line of the file. Now before I'm going to start writing the assembly into this location, I want to show you a command which is called ASCII. And this will just bring me a ASCII table like this. So it'll be easy to figure out the hex values of what I want to write. So for example, let's keep it simple and just write hi on the screen. So we're going to write this character over here. And that's going to be 48. So I'll put it here in a comment. And I want to write the I letter, so that's going to be 69. In hex, of course. Okay, and now we can start writing the assembly. So that's going to be WA. And we're going to start by writing the first character. So I'm going to move into AL register. This right over here. And now I'm going to send this to the debug console. So for this, I'm going to utilize the out assembly instruction. And I'm going to show you the docs as well. I have here the official Intel reference manual for software developers. We're going to locate the specific section about the out command. That's going to be between M and U. Here it is. Output to port. Now I'm going to use this syntax over here. IMM8 means we need to pass here an immediate value with 8 bits. And that's going to be, of course, the port that we saw over here. And this is the port of the debug console. And AL is the register that we use right over here to pass in the character we want to print. And now we do the same thing for the second character. So I'll just copy this. But this time, instead of 48, we're going to pass in 69. And finally, I want the execution of the processor to stop from this point. And for this, I'm going to use the halt command. I'm going to show you it as well. That's going to be in A until L. And you can see that this stops the instruction execution and places the processor in a halt state. And that's just HLT. So that's how I'm going to finish off. Because I don't want the processor to continue executing from this point on. Okay, now let's press enter on this and take a look at the hex right now. So I'm going to go back to visual mode with V, capital V. And this is how it looks like. This is the machine code that we just wrote in assembly. And now we're ready to start this image. So I'm going to go back here And you can see that now we have this file we just created. Now all I got to do is just, let's go back to the QEMU we executed before. But I'm going to utilize another parameter here, which is BIOS. Then BIOS.img. And this will pass in our special BIOS we just created right now. If everything works well, we're going to see hi over here. So let's see. Okay, so of course nothing here on the screen, but if I just move this aside, there it is. This is hi that was printed from our custom BIOS. Let's finish off by taking a quick look at the Coreboot project, which I think is a very interesting attempt to really unify all the different kinds of firmware under a single codebase. I'm going to attach this link in the description. This is a tutorial to start from scratch. And you have here all the steps to make a simple setup of Coreboot on your machine. I already have this set up, so I'm just going to jump into my setup over here. And first of all, let's run make menu config. Now, one of the cool things about Coreboot is that you can specify a custom payload right over here. And what I use is a simple payload that is built into the source code, which is called core info. But you can see here that you have a lot of options, including grub. Now the power of this is that if you want, you can just put everything inside of the firmware. So no need for any disk on your computer. You can just put an entire operating system in the firmware. I already ran make, so it's going to be very fast if I just run here make. If you want to start it, just run QEMU. And then for BIOS, we're just going to pass the build. It's going to be coreboot.rom. As you can see over here, we have the core info payload, and it's just going to show some random processor information and more system information if we press a couple of buttons here. Now the cool thing is that you can actually write your own payload if you want, and it's not that hard because they actually supplied a library which helps simplify the work of writing custom payload if you want, and it's called libpayload. So if you just take a look over here, let's take a look at how the main function of the core info payload looks like. Here, so you can see how you can utilize the libpayload library. In its screen, start color. Now remember we saw that green strip over there at the top of the screen. Let's just change everything here to green and see how that will affect the image. Okay, let's run make again. Nice, and now you can see everything here is green.